Yes, Nandurkar sir, good evening. Welcome to you.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, sir.
Thank you very much for joining. Yes, on behalf of DSPPL, warm welcome to all our panel members, as well as warm welcome to all the participants. DSPPL has been working for holistic development. That is a development in all 5 aspects of human existence, whether it is physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, or spiritual. The question is how this manifestation can work unless and until there is a strong character building of that particular human being. And for that character building, in our opinion, the most important aspect is education. Education plays a vital role in every human's life. But what is the purpose of education? Swami Vivekananda is our role model, and Swami Vivekananda used to say that the purpose of education is to move from animality to humanity to divinity. सवाल यही है कि क्या हम पर्पस ऑफ एजुकेशन सही मायने में अचीव कर रहे हैं? तो इसी विषय में, इसी टॉपिक को लेकर आज हमने ये सारे एक्सपर्ट फैकल्टी मेंबर्स को बुलाया है. सो ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ DSPPL मैं सारे लोगों का तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूं. We have faculties from India as well as USA. So welcome Vinny Saren, who is joining from USA, software engineer by background, but now a teacher, who has been teaching for 16 plus years in USA. And she's our first panel member. उन्हीं से हम शुरुआत करेंगे because she has joined from USA and she has to again resume for her duties as well. But along with her, I also welcome other panel members, Dr. Seema Bhaduri, Asha Muthanna ji, Dr. Neeta Parekh, Dr. Annapurna Shah, Nandita Ganguly ji, and हमारे senior most Dr. K.N. Nandurkar sir. So सब लोगों का स्वागत, and without wasting much time, I will straight away go to Rini ji for her views. Yeah, Rini ji, you can please go ahead.
Thank you, Pranjal. Thank you. So, would you like me to just start discussing what I feel, or do I need to answer specific questions?
No, you can start expressing your opinion around the pointers that we are sharing with all.
Okay, so I'll start with the first pointer about the quality of education. Sorry, that was the bell. So quality of education, again, we see it has to do with the value we create in society as regarding shaping an individual. जो आपने बात कही विवेकानंद जी की, really totality में education should achieve that. So quality का मैं दो perspectives से I want to talk about it from 2 perspectives. कि एक तो quality of delivery जो हम लोग education दे रहे हैं अब students को, that is at an unprecedented high. जो tools हम लोग को available हैं, जो resources available हैं, they are way higher than what we grew up with. तो उस हिसाब से हम लोग we are able to target different kinds of learners. Research बहुत है, research based strategies हैं, methods हैं, audio visual learners, kinesthetic learners, सबके लिए activities हैं, social activities भी हैं. Internet is a huge tool. So information overload है, काफी information है, which is both useful and sometimes I think detrimental too. तो उस तरह से quality of education जो delivery है, I think बहुत हम लोग sophisticated tools हैं हमारे पास, and we are able to reach out to a far larger target. और focus बहुत है individual students पे, they get much better quality than I think we used to. From the side of the student, I feel कि जैसे आपने बोला कि different हो गए हैं, उनके brains different हैं, their attitudes are different, उनके characteristics अलग हैं, और most of all I feel कि उनका environment भी बहुत अलग है. So they are surrounded by too much social media तो है ही एक सबसे बड़ा factor, but उसके अलावा भी the general world we live in, very charged, very intense, and very opinionated. और ऊपर से हर बच्चा अब अपना बहुत इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक और अपनी ओपिनियंस, अपने थॉट्स लेके आता है. इट्स मोर they interact in a much different way than we used to. They're not passive learners, जो कि नहीं होना चाहिए. I'm not saying that they should be passive, but they, in general, I see restlessness, distraction, and a lack of focus in students. तो उस हिसाब से quality of education जो उनको मिलता है, I feel is gone down. And I just want to say that I'm expressing my opinions based on what I've seen in these 16 years, and in my area, I've only taught in Texas. So it's not necessarily a judgment. I'm trying to be objective as possible. जो हम observe कर रहे हैं, I'm just saying that. So I think quality of education में वो है कि हम लोग delivery तो बहुत कर रहे हैं, but receive वो लोग कितना करते हैं, and how much it is shaping them is a source of concern to me. Having said that, what I next thing आपने पूछा था कि profile जो student, typical student, parent और teacher की profile है, all three stand vastly changed. Change तो expected होता है, it's normal, but जिस हिसाब से change हुआ है, जितना drastic change हुआ है in all models, जितना हम देखते हैं, we'll start with parents. जहाँ at least where I live, यहाँ तो family unit का ही काफी disintegration है. I want to say हमारे जो out of every 10 students I teach, at least 7 come from broken homes. We live with their biological or natural parents. So, and parents be younger and much more distracted and not the traditional, not being able to fulfill the traditional role of parenting, जो nurturing होती थी, वो अपने में busy रहते हैं. So to compensate for that, जहाँ जो मैं देखती हूँ, they rely a lot on instant gratification of their children. So they will provide them with everything, physical, latest phones, latest everything, लेकिन जो एक emotional investment or time investment कम दिखता है. And so they are very concerned कि उनका बच्चा खुश रहे. So उस point of view से they are less supportive to educators oftentimes than what I had seen traditionally. So lack of discipline at home also, and lack of support for teachers many times. ये तो नहीं कहेंगे कि black and white है, लेकिन general parenting में parents का profile बदल गया है. Teachers का भी profile बदल गया है. Teachers हमारे time में they were considered gurus and authorities to be next to God basically. And अब हम देखते हैं कि even in the school system we are asked to be facilitators and more than teachers, which is fine, which is good, that we should encourage kids to explore and learn. लेकिन उसमें somewhere delusion हो गया है of the kind of things that we can achieve with students. I feel कि एक उसके हिसाब से lack of respect and एक connection नहीं है student का उस teacher से जो होता था पहले ज़माने में. Because they're just so busy with themselves. Some US system में तो especially a lot of discipline issues arise which impede teaching and hamper learning. So students are generally characterized by restlessness, by lack of focus, like I said, and education in general, student does not tend to see any much value in it. Most students in public schooling at least are there because the law requires them to be there. तो उस हिसाब से somewhere even though they are in the classroom और हम पढ़ाते भी हैं, वो पढ़ते भी हैं थोड़ा बहुत जो भी है, but it's more grade based, again kind of instant gratification. To give you an example, oftentimes अगर हम कुछ उनके साथ activity करते हैं या I give them an assignment, their first question is it a grade? If it's a grade, they'll work for it. If it's not a grade, then they're not interested. So that, and teachers, we like I said, facilitators, and they've taken back seat as far as being considered any kind of authority, not authority for like a person who can help the students. It is more about giving grades and just moving them on. So objectives जहाँ तक है education के, जैसे आपने बोला विवेकानंद जी का, I agree that the objective is to oversee the overall development and ensure physiological and intellectual, social, moral, spiritual growth. हर तरह से that individuals should grow up to become responsible citizens, have integrity, and contribute positively to the community. So उस हिसाब से objectives stand challenged. I don't think इतना development हो रहा है बच्चों में. Desired results, of course, always have been vocational and career stability, and to become responsible citizens. जो individuals अब बड़े हो रहे हैं, students after getting out of this education system, they are floundering. Their moral compass is not there many times, and they're not, in my opinion, when मैं अपने school की बात करती हूँ, I teach high school. Now that I see the population that graduates, I don't even think that they are ready to graduate. They do not have the maturity of thought and perception and the ability to discern between good and bad and desirable and undesirable outcomes of society. This is just my feeling, and of course not a criticism so much, it's just objective observation of the society in general. And जहाँ तक मेरा अपना सवाल है, I would value wisdom over intelligence. Intelligence is just mental keenness, and smartness is intelligence. Smart तो दुनिया हो गई है, smartphones, smart TV, smart watches, everything is smart. But the students, again, going back to that, the ability to discern, the ability to strike an internal equilibrium to ensure their own spiritual growth, and most of all, their fulfillment. सब कुछ होने के बाद भी they're not fulfilled. So अपने अंदर balance लाना और society को beneficial होना, वो दो key aspects होते थे of sound individuals. I feel that our education is not able to provide that. So I think we need pointers on what we need to change in education and how to go about it. Change में what I feel, and this is my personal opinion, I think we should go back to more discipline, and discipline not in the case, like not in the sense of punishment, but discipline as establishing clear environment and establishing norms for what to expect and how to behave and what to absorb in classroom. We need to go back to that. We need to also go back to somehow connecting with the students and making them realize what it is all about. It is not about information. It is not about instant gratification. It is something larger than that. Usko kaise unko communicate karna hai, that education needs to focus on character building and responsibilities, and also activities to enhance brain development. With too much technology, humko lagta hai brain development is being hindered, not helped. Technology, I think, has to be curbed at some point, is my personal opinion. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rini. You spared the time from very valuable time.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
And you got to rush to the school.
I'm in
Thank
school,
you so
so
much.
I'll stay on till I can.
We'll talk.
If that's okay.
Thank you very much. That's a great news. Yeah, thank you. Again, I think you presented another dynamics of new generation and education. I think this is something which we have been trying to work for the last about 18 years now. And whatever you talked about the new generation and the challenges, I think this is exactly what we have found in our research also. Probably, I think the last time, so somewhere I think we are getting some kind of a hopeless picture about the education, unless we retrace back, add a cultural aspect to the education. Because in an earlier time, educated means also culture. Didn't have to be said separately. But today, education has already divorced itself from the culture. So somewhere I think that cultural impact has to be brought back to the education. As you really talked very nicely about the discipline. But discipline doesn't mean punishment, as you rightly say. So somewhere I think it should not be a nuisance to the world. The freedom, not at the cost of the world. I think the whole idea of freedom is getting into the wrong zone. Yeah. So somewhere I think we need to imbibe, and we have been trying to imbibe 24 different values of humanity for the last few years, consistently for the last 10 years. And I think it is paying. In fact, when I just came here from Ahmedabad, I'm in Surat right now, and there's about 109 students we just initiated on the spiritual path. All those who are in the 11th and 12th standard, they are just going to move out in the world. So somewhere I think I'm extremely happy the way they shaped up for the last about 5-6 days. So I think we should nurture the hope, and I think let us correct whatever has gone wrong to the extent. And this is the time to do it. So thank you so much, Riniji, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are so
I'll stay
honored.
on for some time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, Pranjal.
Thank you, Riniji. Thank you once again. And now we will straight away move to our second panelist, Dr. Seema Baduri. She is a retired HOD of English and Director at Center for Research Studies, HPT College, Nasik. She has a 36 plus years of teaching experience. Madam, warm welcome to you. She has published 15 research papers in journal and author of a book. So, Madam, welcome, and you can please share your views. You need to just unmute yourself. Yeah, perfect.
Good evening to all of you. And before I begin, I'd like to thank DSPPL for this opportunity to express my views. As Pranjal ji has just said, I've been in this line for more than 3 decades, and I'm deeply concerned. I agree with so much that Ms. Rini Saran has said, though the Indian situation is still very different, and my students came largely from a rural background. That made things a little more easier, perhaps, and very different. So based on what I experience with my students and based on what I see my grandchildren experiencing, I would like to say that yes, education has changed drastically over the last few decades. The students have changed. They are far more demanding, far more assertive, far more knowing, and self-assured, which is quite often a matter to be thought about. They have been exposed to quite a bit. They have parents in the Indian, I'm speaking about the Indian middle classes and the upper middle classes. Their parents are more focused nowadays. Their parents are more concerned about the students' education, though I feel that the parents' focus is limited to the career opportunities for their children, the money making, what will lead them to, what will enable them to get more money, and to social mannerisms. In not too many cases do parents look beyond this, which is something to be thought about. Coming to teachers, teachers today have a lot more qualifications than they did when we were students. They have a lot more tools with them. The syllabus too has changed. There are far too many subjects, too much of knowledge, and well, there's a lot of infrastructure in software and hardware and other things in educating the students. But coming to the crucial issue of the objective of education, that remains very problematic. And, going by what Pranjal ji said about Swami Vivekananda, who had said that, character building should be one of the fundamental objectives of education. And I agree entirely with him. I feel that education should lead to, as far as possible, the holistic development of personality, the full-fledged development of the cognitive and the creative aspects of an individual student. So much so that, if the individual student develops in this manner, society as a whole is bound to develop. This will reflect upon society. And the other aspect of education today should be to enable students to face the challenges that are looming, on them. So these are the two factors, and I feel not enough attention is being paid to these objectives, either by the parents or by the teachers or by the educating bodies. Students themselves seem to know little about this. They still feel that the examination is the end, the grades are the end, and they look for a career abroad, and that is. So this is an area which requires a great deal of attention. Yes, I would agree that students should be wise, provided they can manage themselves in the smart world. They'll also have to protect themselves in the smart and smarter world. So that equipment also should be given to them. Now, coming to, based on my experiences, what I feel is, if we are talking about India still has a large hinterland of tribal students, rural students, and they ought to be our target audience as much as the urban students. So in such cases, what I had been doing over the years was, I would make the textbook in the classroom a window to the world. The textbook, say a chapter in the textbook should lead to other associated activities, so that the child has a view of the world inside the class. That was one of the techniques I had been using regularly. As I told you, quite a lot of my students came from the rural background, so they didn't have much of an exposure. So this technique helped me to introduce them to the world in the classroom situation. And the classroom, I always thought and felt, should become a field of activity for the students, moving beyond the text, full of several co-curricular, extracurricular activities that free students from their mental constructs and set them up to act responsibly, to act positively on the world stage or on the public stage. About the teaching learning situation, I still feel that much of the teaching is teacher-centered, which is not really good. It should be learner-centered. A teaching learning process should have the student at the center, the individual student at the center. Consciously, it's not a matter of language. Can the teacher make a conscious effort to make the student feel that he is being noted inside the classroom, that he is not being ignored, that his voice is being heard? This, I found, was a very strong psychological motivator to the student inside the classroom. He became more attentive, he became more responsive, he felt responsible about this. So this is what I was doing regularly. Now, given the onslaught of the social media, onslaught of the software industry, onslaught of the internet, I wonder how students are to be prepared for it. I don't think parents are really paying much attention to it. I don't see teachers spending extra time thinking on it, talking to students about it, familiarizing them with the drawbacks of what could happen with excessive use of, say, the mobile or the internet. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि टीचर्स को, क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स बहुत इंटेलिजेंट हैं और they need to be convinced कि ये चीज बुरा है, और कन्विंस कैसे, वर्बली करेंगे तो बिल्कुल नहीं होने वाला है. Teachers and parents should come together, and they should devise means of speaking to the student, उनको convince कराना, उनके साथ बैठना, उनको वक्त देना कि इस चीज के फायदे बहुत हैं, लेकिन इस चीज के नुकसान भी उतने ही ज्यादा है, तो इसको हैंडल कैसे करें, क्योंकि यू कैन नॉट विश इट अवे. ये आया हुआ है, ये हमारे साथ रहेगा, इट विल ग्रो इन इंटेंसिटी, इट विल ग्रो इन पावर. अब इसको हैंडल कैसे किया जाए? I feel this is an area that has remained largely untouched yet. तो ये एक चीज है. दूसरा जो है जिसके बारे में हम आम आए दिन बात करते हैं, that is environmental disasters. अब ये भी ऐसे होता है कि बातें हो रही है, the teacher is speaking about it, टीवी पे कहा जा रहा है. Is the individual student aware of what is happening in the environment around him? To what extent does the individual student feel responsible about it? To what extent does he or she associate himself herself with the climate change? अब ये लगता है किस तरह से किया जाए, लेकिन छोटी छोटी बातें जैसे हैं कि स्टूडेंट्स को अवेयर कराया जाए कि तुम्हारे घर में कितने पानी का नुकसान होता है, हर एक घर में काफी पानी का नुकसान होता है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का नुकसान होता है, खाने का वेस्टेज होता है। तो इन चीजों के बारे में स्टूडेंट्स को अवेयर कराना, टू गेट इट इनटू देयर फोकस कि यह दुनिया तुम्हारा है और ये नुकसान तुम्हारा है। So how do you convince students that the student is responsible for his world, it is his world or it is her world, और उसके लिए वो उस तरह से चाहे कितना भी छोटा हो वो स्टेप ले। इसके बाद मुझे ये जैसे द आइडिया ऑफ रिसाइकलिंग, किताबें होती हैं उन पे 2-4 पन्ने लिखो और फिर काट के फेंक दो, can't they be recycled? Can't children be taught or told or directed to reuse the books that they are throwing up? Small little things, but we did all this when we were children. हमारी दुनिया भी बहुत छोटी थी लेकिन हम ये करते थे। इस तरह से क्या बच्चों को आज कराया जा रहा है? That is the thing. दूसरा एक चीज जो मिस सारन ने इतनी अच्छे से बताया कि disintegrating families, disintegrating social bonds, ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है, इमोशनल चैलेंज है, साइकोलॉजिकल चैलेंज है, स्पिरिचुअल चैलेंज है, एंड इट कैन थ्रो द स्टूडेंट्स माइंड अराउंड। तो इसको किस तरह से education, I think, has shied away from this issue so far. People haven't spoken publicly about it. तो इसके बारे में बातें हो, students को बात, students need to be told that this is the reality. You are facing it today or you might face it tomorrow, but it is there to stay. How do you strengthen yourself mentally, morally to face the situation and to protect yourself? किस तरह से सोशल रिलेशनशिप्स बनाए जाने चाहिए और क्यों बनाए जाने? आज तो इंटरनेट का जमाना है, घर में मोबाइल लेके बैठ जाओ, यू डोंट नीड अ रिंग्स। लेकिन इसके नुकसान क्या होते हैं? ओल्ड एज में इसके नुकसान किस तरह के आते हैं? I think students need to be talked to, taken into confidence and spoken to about these things. ये इन चीजों का मुझे लगता है। मुझे ये लगता है कि स्टूडेंट्स, क्या हम स्टूडेंट्स के आर्ट ऑफ सीइंग को थोड़ा सा एडिट कर सकते हैं? कैन बी sort of teach them the art of seeing, the art of perception. तो किस तरह से किया जाए? जैसे कि हम उन्हें अगर बताएं कि instead of looking upon things as right and wrong or good and bad and etc., can we look upon things, everything that's happening inside the body, outside, in class, inside the house, in society, in terms of cause-effect relationships? हर एक चीज का एक cause होता है, उसका एक effect होता है। ये एक scientific process है। तो इसको क्या स्टूडेंट्स आइडेंटिफाई अगर कर सकते हैं छोटी से छोटी बातों में, if they get into the habit of identifying everything by and large, broadly, in terms of cause-effect relationship, तो काफी कुछ हो सकता है, शायद उसका फायदा होता हो। इसी तरह से और एक another idea that could be instilled into them is that of freedom and responsibility. Let them realize that, let the individual student realize her responsibility and her freedom. This is not talked about. I think this is not talked about, and I feel this should be talked about from the very early stages. They should imbibe the idea that they have this freedom and for which they are responsible, so how they should act. तो ये एक बात है। दूसरा इसी तरह का एक आइडिया है शेयरिंग एंड केयरिंग वाला, कि students should get to know if you have something shared, you share with another. In this way, you prevent wastage. In this way, you build bonds, and in this way, you develop emotional content. जैसे मैं सारण ने बताया कि इमोशनल कंटेंट आजकल बहुत कम होता जा रहा है। So what to do about it? What is the fallout of it? कि पेरेंट्स और टीचर्स के साथ मुझे लगता है there should be regular interaction. This should be brought on board. स्टूडेंट्स के साथ इंटरेक्शन होना चाहिए। एजुकेशन तो होता रहेगा, जो कुछ हम पढ़ते हैं परीक्षा के बाद भूल जाते हैं। Much of it is forgotten and it hardly matters. Earlier when we were children, tradition was strong. There was a strong family system despite all its weaknesses. There was a strong social life around. वो चीजें जब ना है, so I think these issues should come center stage. And finally, जैसे अजित सर ने अब कहा कि cultural awareness बहुत 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 जरूरी है. The students studying in Bangalore must be made to believe that Arunachal Pradesh is not another country. ये हमारा ही देश है और अरुणाचल के लोग हमारे ही लोग हैं. बंगाल के लोगों को ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए कि दिल्ली के लोग दूर हैं. नहीं, बिल्कुल इस तरह का कल्चरल डाइवर्सिटी जो हमारे देश का, it's the greatest treasure of our land. Students must be made to realize the richness of this cultural diversity, and that again from a very, very early age, apart from whatever text they are studying and whatever exams they are taking. This is what I mean.
Thank you so much, Srimati. And it was such a wonderful discourse for the last about 10 minutes. Education. And we got another dimension of education also. See, this is something I think which is very challenging, because education was never so challenging. And probably I think we have not met before. But one thing I would like to share, this 2004 study that we did till about 2017 has brought out some very revealing facts about the 28 personality traits in which the today's generation student is so different than the earlier generations. And we have been trying to work out on that and find somewhere we are coming very close to understand that there's some kind of a DNA reorientation. The third strand of the DNA started activated since 1980s. And this is directly reflected in the various dimensions of our life, including physiological, emotional, mental, spiritual, and intellectual. So they're highly intellectual, but at the cost of emotions and the mind. So thank you very much for bringing out this. And I think probably we'll get another chance somewhere, some point of time, to discuss and get your guidance, on the movement that we have been running for the new generation. Thank you so much, Simaji. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Simaji. Thank you. And now we will straight away move to the third panelist, Asha Muthanna ji. Warm welcome on behalf of DSPPL. She has been ex-principal Diksha Indiranagar College, Bangalore, and ex-vice principal of prestigious CMR National Public School. 25 plus years of experience, and now acting as expert consultant to the international organizations. And welcome on this particular forum. And the forum is open now for your views. Asha, thank you.
Jai Gurdeep. My greetings to all present here. I'm grateful to Reiki Master Aruna and Dr. Pranjal Joshi, Director of DSPPL, for giving me this opportunity to share and learn. If I ask a layman, what kind of education did we have in the past? He'll say, rote learning. 5 ones are 5, 5 twos are 10, 5 threes are 15. But today, that rote learning has been raised to a high pedestal. It has been termed the Sanskrit Effect. By learning the Vedic hymns written in Sanskrit, scientists have proved that it enlarges the brain functions. We are not only able to memorize things, we also improve our lungs. In today's educational system, some educators think, why tax the brain when we have calculators? What will happen to our cognitive skills if we rely on calculators? It will just go to sleep. To prevent this, let us keep that memory part of our brain alive. Let's make a few changes to suit today's educational environment. We can by heart certain important things like tables, formula, concepts. The traditional education was called Gurukul system. It was nothing but a residential school. a few children had the privilege of going to a guru's ashram and studying there free of cost. In exchange, the children helped to keep the premises clean, gather firewood, some food, and did other odd jobs. Through this, students learned dignity of labor, responsibility, discipline, sharing, and other life skills. Today, if I were to ask a student to sweep his classroom, he'll say, "Ma'am, dignity, child labor." Today's children are very fortunate to get easy access to high-tech education. Parents are paying hefty sums as school fees. So, as Seema ma'am said, the teacher-centric education has now shifted to learner-centric. Students have become sort of customers because they are so highly protected. All educators say, don't hurt the child, don't upset the child. In the whole process, the child thinks only of himself. And there's hardly any respect for the teacher. We cannot continue this in the future. There should be a balance between the teacher-student relationship and their exchange. Traditional education aimed at holistic development, which they achieved. The teacher, however, was unchallenged. Today also, the objective is holistic education, development of the child. There is a problem here in the interpretation. Because now what the parents and society looks at is high-paying careers, comfortable life. So there is success in this also. Today's education has succeeded in this. What is missing there? Spiritual courage. That is what is missing. In the name of lessening the burden of the student, a lot of learning is confined to the home. And it's looked upon as accidental learning. Spiritual awareness is unfortunately solely the responsibility of parents. How do we bring the past and the present together? We must use the knowledge of the ancients through the modern technological means. And this is happening in Finland and in our own backyard, Ladakh. This should be the future models. In Ladakh, there is Sonam Wangchuk. He has organized a practical curriculum for students who couldn't clear the school board exams. He teaches them outdoors, how to build mud houses and other socially useful productive work. Finland gives free education to all its children, and all their teachers are paid as much as the doctors and engineers. So there's no pressure, there's no quarrel. But what I've been saying is just a few beads in a necklace. What will be the string which will keep these beads together? This is the spiritual development of a child. Anyone who has reverence for a supreme being in his heart will be the winner. The other day, I came across a group of students. They were going for a party. All of them were very happy because they just got their placements. They just got new jobs in hand. I asked one person, 10 years hence, what will you be doing? He just looked at me mischievously and he said, ma'am, the future is unpredictable. Everyone laughed. I also laughed. Then I looked at another boy. I said, that was a smart answer. Now you tell me. And I know that the boy I questioned is a boy who goes for bhajans regularly. So I asked him, what's your answer? He said, ma'am, I hope to watch the happy faces of the graduates that I have employed. Now it is for the children to decide whether they like to be smart or they like to be wise. Thank you so much. Jai Gurdeep.
Thank you so much, Ashaji. Thank you. It has been a wonderful dimensions that you provided also. And it remembers me statement of Dr. APJ Kalam in his own book, Wings of Fire. He says, technological excellence without the foundation of the spirituality is fatal to the world. And these words have been etched into my mind. See, unless there's a purpose, unless there's a spirit, unless there's a spiritual dimension to the education, probably I think it will create more nuisance to the humanity. And probably it is more fatal, as in the words of Dr. Kalam. So thank you very much. And you talked about Gurukul. Thank you so much for that. Gurukuls basically, to my knowledge, created students and made them fit to the samsara in a better way. The problem is not with the samsara, as I understand. The problem is the people without qualifications are doing samsara. That is the truth. I think even for running a family, even for giving a birth to the child, even to get married, I think one needs the basic qualifications of humanity. And if they are missing, I think it is making a mess in the world today. So thank you. I think you brought out so subtly and so wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us on this forum today. And I look forward to more interactions with you and take your guidance for our movement in future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Asha. Yeah, sir. And one more thing I would like to share, Ashaji, with you, that DSPPL mission itself is to enrich human life through spiritual understanding of scientific advancements. So what you said, that the modern technology should be used, but that spirit should not be missing. That spiritual awareness and spiritual progress should be there. So DSPPL's entire mission is working towards that particular aspect. So thank you for echoing our mission. Thank you very much. And we'll be definitely would like to work along with you. And now I will request next panel member, Dr. Neeta Parekh. Daji, warm welcome to you. She's a professor, Department of Humanities at Gurukul Institute of Engineering and Technology, Ranpur, Kota. And she has 23 plus years of experience in teaching. She has also been associated with DSPPL. So we are very much proud to have Neeta Parekh. And now Neeta, the entire forum is open to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Jai Gurudev to all of you, and thank you for this opportunity. At least it gave me a chance to ponder over all these areas which are given as the pointers. So I would like to start with the quality of education. When we talk about the quality of education, there are many factors, according to me, which needs to be discussed, like what kind of curriculum has been designed, then what the overall system presents, that is the regularity of the classes, the student attendance, student teacher interaction. Third point is what kind of assessment system is there in one particular institution. I'm not talking about the school or college, but whatever educational body is there. So even assessment is one area which needs to be taken care of. What kind of listening and reading habits students they are developing, what kind of attention we are paying for all these things. Again, the balance between the theoretical and practical knowledge, whether there are remedial and tutorial classes, what kind of environment the campus presents. So these are the various areas which I pondered, and I think that we can think of all these areas, and then only we can decide the quality of education, because that fulfills our objective comprehensively. Second is the profile of the parents, teachers, and students. Now, change is very natural. We need to adjust ourselves. We need to adapt the new things in life. So in this situation, we have been observing that parents, they have already become aware. So much awareness is there on the part of the parents. Earlier, even I remember that parents, they hardly remembered whether the child is in 10th or 12th or college or what kind of course the child is pursuing. But now the parents, they are deciding, not only the deciding authority, but they are also participating actively in the schooling, in the college education, in the even the higher education area. So they have become aware. That is my first observation. The second one is teachers. As the previous speakers, they said that teachers, they have become facilitators nowadays. Students, they appear with so much of smart tools. Their Google and internet dependence has become so much that sometimes they consider that even without going to the classes, without attending the college, they can manage so many things on the basis of the YouTube, internet videos and all. Though I also notice the positive changes also, that those students who go for all these things, they often come and they interact with the teachers as well, if as the previous speaker said, that there is a sharing and caring attitude on the part of the teacher. So but moreover, parents, teachers, students, there is a huge shift. Now the reason behind this shift is that number of new things has been introduced. The whole system is also changing. There are obviously we consider that the changes are not so positive. Now how to make it positive, that is a challenge for us as well, as teachers, as parents. So we observe that skill development and that skill development universities, they have also been developed just to provide that students, they become self-sufficient. So the theoretical work is more as compared to the practical work that was noticed in the higher education area, which I have observed. And on the part of the teachers, when they dealt with theory, number of non-academic tasks, they are also assigned to the teachers, that makes them disinterested in the teaching. Actually, that activity has been hindered. Even it has been observed that the autonomous bodies, I have given I have shaped my views on the basis of the experience of some governmental institutions, some self-finance institutions. So it has been observed that number of autonomous bodies, they are doing better than the government bodies, because if we follow the governmental system, there are number of procedures that is to be done. And in that case, we have already gone far away in developing a parallel support system for the students. That is also, I think there are a number of examples in each and every area of India, not particularly Rajasthan, to which I belong, this state or any other state if you take. The fourth point, whether should we make students smart or wise? Smart, they already are, and therefore they have been creating smart tools. And recently there was one social forum on which the citizens were supposed to decide whether your city is smart or not. So we have been doing for these things, this kind of things. But I think that they need to be wise. Smartness, they will adopt, they will do. Whenever practically जो चीजें करनी है वहां वो smartly रास्ता निकालना उन्हें आता है. लेकिन यदि हमने उसे wisdom नहीं दिया, then they would suffer at one point of time. और जैसे Edison, Joseph Edison, an essayist, he said that wisdom crieth without the streets. She uttereth in the voice of streets, that when will you become wise? तो wise wisdom बनाना, उनके अंदर wisdom develop करना, that I consider essential. I recall number of such instances where students, they are told to write down something, and instead of noting down, they say कि madam हम type करके दे दे तो, they feel it comfortable in this kind of situation. तो हम ये देख ही रहे कि smartness उनके अंदर है. Then adaptations की बात करें तो adaptation जो हमें especially education situation में जो required है, I would like to say that there should be acceptance. क्योंकि पहले जब तक जो system है उसको हम accept नहीं करेंगे तो we cannot think of the change. Then जैसे हम एक individual के अंदर हम देखते हैं कि जो छोटी छोटी habits है उसमें हमें change लाना चाहिए. In the same way, when we think of a huge change, it cannot happen instantly. तो जो small steps जहाँ पर हम ले सकते हैं, जैसे ले सकते हैं, just keeping apart whatever type of body it is. एक educational institution है तो जो भी छोटे changes हम adapt कर सकते हैं वो जरूर हमें करने चाहिए, and we should focus on the small things first rather than focusing on the bigger things, because big things will take place when we focus on the short changes or small changes. Goal oriented ज़्यादा होना पड़ेगा, because even we see that students, their single aim is to be well established in the society. Now what is their idea of this thing? That also depends. So that can only be corrected, or that not even corrected, that would be the wrong word, but that can only be changed if we have a better interaction with them. And that is possible only when they come to the college or schools regularly. Then self-discipline, as the previous speaker also mentioned that, so that is essential. Now how, that is a big challenge. Parents, teachers, और शायद हम टीचर्स के ऊपर ही पूरी तरह से रिलाई नहीं हो सकते हैं. We should, whatever way, if the school is not giving that thing, or if that development is not noticed in the school, parents can fulfill that. तो एक दूसरे के supplementary है. जहाँ parents कम पढ़ रहे हैं वहाँ टीचर्स आगे आके काम कर सकते हैं, और जहाँ टीचर्स कम कर रहे हैं, पढ़ रहे हैं, there I think parents, they can take care of, and only then we can think of the better citizens. So I think that I would like to remember one quote of Swami Vivekananda, where he said that education is the manifestation of divinity which is already there within the man. Now, what actually our idea of this divinity or education or learning is there? So I think that will help us to achieve whatever adaptations we need to bring in the educational system. So that is all from my side.
Thank you, Neetaji. Thank you for adding to the spectrum of viewpoints today. And it's so true, because when we look at, I look at the education as somebody who is interested in education. I won't call myself a teacher or educationist either. But if you look at that, the education basically was 40, 50 years ago, was more student specific. The student was a center point. Everything was for student. Thereafter, it got shifted to the teacher specific. And we saw a lot of strikes and a lot of demands on the teachers. And lately, it has gone into institution specific. It is the institution people talk more about than the teachers. Most of the advertisements I see today about the institutions, they don't talk about what kind of quality of teachers they have. They talk about what kind of facilities they have. So somewhere I think there's already a major shift, if you can see, from student to teachers to institutions. And one doesn't know really where it is going to go back. And hopefully it comes back to the student specificity. And probably we should all be happy about it, because we forgot that everything we are doing is for the student as a center point. So hopefully, I think we come back to our sense of education and bring out, as you rightly said, the divinity among them. Everybody is divine. Problem is that everybody is not experiencing the divinity.
Yes.
Making you experience the divinity that is within you is what education is all about. Education is not something about outside world. It's about inner dimensions. Thank you so much, Neetaji. And I think there's a lot we can still talk on this forum.
Yes, yes.
Let us meet for more often. Thank you so much. God bless. Jai Guru.
My pleasure, sir. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, Neetaji. And now I will welcome our next panel member, Dr. Annapurna Shah. Warm welcome on behalf of DSPPL. She has been a past principal of MVM Arts College, Rajkot, presented many research papers in the state and national level conference, and serving as a referee to PhD students in different universities. Madam, welcome on this particular forum, and the forum is open for your views. Thank you very much. Jai Gurudev.
जय गुरुदेव। सबसे पहले मैं DSPPL का आभार मानती हूँ, साथ ही साथ कृपा जी और प्रांजल जी आपका भी आभार मानती हूँ, और गुरु जी का विशेष आभार इसलिए मानती हूँ क्योंकि उन्होंने मुझे इसके लिए प्रेरणा दी है। सबसे पहले शिक्षा के बारे में थोड़ी सी बात करते हुए मैं कहना चाहूंगी कि शिक्षा प्रज्ञा है। मेरे हिसाब से शिक्षा प्रज्ञा है, एक ऐसी प्रोसीजर है जो हमें उस ओर लेके जाती है जहां हमें मानव जीवन को ले जाना है। और इसीलिए हमारे पास 3 गुरु हैं, ब्रह्मा, विष्णु और महेश, जिन्होंने हमें शिक्षा के वो माध्यम दिए हैं कि जिसमें ब्रह्मा के द्वारा हमें नवसर्जन यानी कि संशोधन का ज्ञान मिला है, विष्णु के द्वारा पालन पोषण रक्षण का ज्ञान मिला है, और शिव के द्वारा कल्याण का, क्योंकि हमारी अंदर की बुराइयों को हम कैसे कम कर सकते हैं उसका ज्ञान हमें उनसे मिला है। शिक्षा का मैं मानती हूँ कि यह मूल विचार है। यदि हम इस मूल विचार से हटते हैं तो बहुत से प्रश्न शिक्षा के लिए खड़े होते हैं। हम जानते हैं कि आज पूरा विश्व आज आर्थिक, सामाजिक, राजकीय, धार्मिक, सांस्कृतिक कई समस्याओं से घिरा हुआ है। हर तरफ सब सुख की खोज में है। हम ये भी जानते हैं कि शिक्षा उस समय का प्रतिबिंब है जिसमें हम रहते हैं। आज हमारे समय में बच्चों से हमारी मांगे, अपेक्षाएं अलग है, जो हमारी शिक्षा प्रणाली में भी दिखाई दे रही है। हम बहुत ज्यादा प्रतिस्पर्धात्मक हो गए हैं और सफलता को पूर्व निर्धारित मापदंडों से मापने लगे हैं, जिसकी दौड़ में हमने बहुत कुछ अच्छा भी प्राप्त किया है और बहुत कुछ बुरा भी। पहले अच्छे की बात करते हैं। सभी स्तरों पे ज्ञान की नई दिशाएं खुली हैं, माइक्रो रिसर्च हो रहे हैं जिससे बड़ी क्रांति हुई है, जीवन में सुविधाएं बढ़ी है, टेक्नोलॉजी ने पूरे विश्व को एक साथ खड़ा कर दिया है, रोजगारी के नए क्षेत्र खुल रहे हैं, वुमेन एजुकेशन को नई दिशाएं मिली हैं, हर क्षेत्र में स्त्रियों की भागीदारी सराहनीय है। शिक्षा सीमित न रहकर हर वर्ग को हर जगह पे मिल रही है। शिक्षा के हर क्षेत्र में नई सोच आने से नए विषयों पर बड़े पैमाने पर रिसर्च हो रहे हैं। विज्ञान ने बड़ी तरक्की की है। शिक्षा कॉमर्शियल बनने से व्यवसाय लक्ष्य शिक्षा के क्षेत्रों में बहुत विकास हुआ है। विविध भाषाओं का भी विकास हुआ है और उसका महत्व भी बढ़ा है। परंतु कुछ चीजें ऐसी भी हुई हैं जिसमें सुधार की जरूरत है, जैसे कि भौतिकता बढ़ी है। भौतिकता ने आधुनिकता के नाम पर बड़ी बड़ी व्यापार करने वाली शैक्षणिक संस्थाओं को जन्म दिया है। डिग्रियां स्टेटस सिंबल बन गई है। टेक्नोलॉजी एवं कॉमर्शियल शिक्षा का महत्व बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गया है। कंपटीशन बढ़ गई है, पैसे कमाने की दौड़ बढ़ गई है, आर्थिक भेदभाव बढ़ रहे हैं। वही डिग्रियों का महत्व बढ़ रहा है जो हमें कमा के देगी। समाज की सोच भी इसी दिशा को पकड़ रही है। मानवतावादी मूल्यनिष्ठ शिक्षा का अभाव दिखाई दे रहा है। ये शायद हमारी संस्कृति के लिए सबसे बड़ा खतरा है। लोग स्वार्थी बन अपने ही विकास की सोच बढ़ा रहे हैं। देखा देखी बढ़ गई है। अपने फील्ड में एक्सपर्ट होते हुए भी काम का कंपटीशन का स्ट्रेस है। घंटों तक काम करते रहने से फैमिली लाइफ असर कर रही है। ये इन चीजों पर ध्यान देने की जरूरत है। शिक्षा में माता पिता, शिक्षकगण और छात्रों की प्रोफाइल में कोई बदलाव आया है क्या? निश्चित रूप से बदलाव आया है और समय के साथ बदलाव होना भी चाहिए। हालांकि बदलाव बेहतर के लिए होना चाहिए। आज शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में टेक्नोलॉजी ने अपनी पकड़ जमा ली है। सीखना कई रूपों में होता है। टेक्नोलॉजी ने उसे सुलभ कर दिया है। इसलिए माता पिता, शिक्षकगण और छात्रों में टेक्नोलॉजी और उपकरणों की प्रारंभिक समझ होना आवश्यक है। आज हम समाज के उस दौर पर है जहां बच्चे टेक्नोलॉजी को बहुत जल्दी अपना रहे हैं। युवा पीढ़ी भी इन उपकरणों के इस्तेमाल से कंफर्टेबल है, परंतु समाज का कुछ वर्ग ऐसा भी है, कुछ हिस्सा ऐसा भी है जहां इसकी अवेयरनेस नहीं है। जो माँ बाप खुद शिक्षित नहीं है परंतु अपने बच्चे को अच्छी शिक्षा दे रहे हैं, वहां यह टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत बड़े सवाल खड़े कर रही है। ऐसे में जो बच्चे समझदार हैं, वह अपने पेरेंट्स को सिखा रहे हैं, ये बहुत अच्छी बात है। और कई बच्चे उन्हें कुछ समझ नहीं आएगा यह कहकर अलग कर रहे हैं, ये बुरी बात है। इसलिए तकनीकी शिक्षा के साथ साथ मूल्यात्मक शिक्षा की आज बहुत जरूरत है। आज रिटायरमेंट की उम्र पर खड़े शिक्षक टेक्नोलॉजी सीखने में पीछे पड़ रहे हैं, शायद डर भी रहे हैं। विद्यार्थी, शिक्षक एवं पेरेंट्स के रिलेशनशिप में भी व्यापारीकरण हो रहा है। या ये समझ आ गई है सब में कि जो हम दे रहे हैं उस हिसाब से हमें मिल भी रहा है। अच्छा रिजल्ट लाने के लिए बच्चों पर पढ़ाई का और होमवर्क का भार बढ़ रहा है। शिक्षा परीक्षा लक्ष्य बनने से सभी का लक्ष्य उसी तरफ हो गया है। विद्यार्थियों के करियर के लिए माँ बाप ज्यादा सजग हो गए हैं। यदि इस प्रतिस्पर्धा में जब माँ बाप जुड़ जाते हैं तब वह अपने बच्चों को अव्वल ही देखना चाहते हैं, जिसका प्रेशर बच्चों पर पड़ता है, जिसके परिणामों से हम वाकिफ हैं। पेरेंट्स वर्किंग होने से ज्यादा टाइम बच्चों को नहीं दे पा रहे हैं। ट्यूशन कल्चर ने कॉलेज और स्कूलों की शिक्षा को प्रभावित किया है। सबके पास साधन होने से शिक्षा, शायद मैं मानती हूँ, साधनात्मक होती जा रही है। संवेदनाएं उनमें से कम हो रही है। कुछ चीजें कंपल्सरी बन जाने से शायद इसकी क्वालिटी में भी कमी आ रही है। फिर भी कहीं कहीं उम्मीद दिख रही है। जैसे आज बच्चे स्पिरिचुअल शिक्षा ले रहे हैं, हमारे DSPL के भी विद्यार्थी ले रहे हैं। बहुत से बच्चे एक साथ गीता पढ़ रहे हैं। बहुत से बच्चे बहुत सारे मंत्रों का एक साथ पठन कर रहे हैं। थोड़ा समय अपने साथ जीना सीख रहे हैं और ये चीजें उनमें जरूर बदलाव लाएगी। मुझे आशा है कि ये मशाल यदि जलती रहेगी तो जरूर उनमें चेंज आएगा, क्योंकि जरूरत इस चीज की है कि हमें अच्छी चीजों का अनुभव भी हो और अनुभूति भी हो। आज शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में सर्वांगी विकास की बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है। शिक्षा का हेतु मात्र अच्छे प्रोफेशनल और हार्ड वर्किंग इंडिविजुअल बनाने तक सीमित नहीं होना चाहिए। परंतु अच्छे और डिसेंट सामाजिक व्यक्तित्व बनाने की भी जरूरत है। परंतु आज पूरा विश्व ऊंची डिग्रियां, ऊंचे पगार वाली नौकरियां, अच्छे ग्रेड, अच्छी यूनिवर्सिटी की दौड़ तरफ बढ़ रहा है। क्या ये सारी दौड़ की वजह सिर्फ शिक्षा ही है? नहीं, समाज भी उतना ही जवाबदार है। इसलिए यदि समाज अपनी मांग में भौतिकता की दौड़ को कम कर दे तो एजुकेशनल सिस्टम विल चेंज टू एड्रेस दैट। इसलिए आज स्किल बेस्ड विषयों की शिक्षा जरूरी बन गई है, जिसकी वजह से जो बच्चे आज की रेस में दौड़ने की क्षमता नहीं रखते हैं वह भी समाज में सर उठाकर जी सके। आज समाज में स्मार्टनेस के साथ वाइज होना भी जरूरी है। मैं मानती हूं दोनों का होना जरूरी है। स्मार्टनेस के साथ यदि बच्चे वाइज हो जाते हैं तो प्रगति निश्चित है। एक उदाहरण से ये बात मैं समझाना चाहूंगी कि हमने अणुबम बनाना सीख लिया है, पर उसका इस्तेमाल मानव जाति का विनाश करेगी, उसकी समझ उसके अन्वेषण के साथ यदि दी जाए तो वो बहुत बड़ी बात है अपने आप में। डॉक्टर बनना हमारे लिए गर्व की बात है, परंतु डॉक्टरी में मानवता का न होना ये बहुत बुरी बात है। यदि हम स्मार्टनेस के साथ वाइज बनते हैं तो ये समझदारी हमारे में आती है। अंत में मैं कुछ कहना चाहूंगी कि आज के शैक्षणिक वातावरण में हमारे बच्चों को हम सही दिशाएं दिखाएं, न कि हमारे सपनों के साधन बनाएं। शिक्षा को जीवन लक्ष्य बनाएं, नैतिकता के साथ भौतिकता की ओर बढ़ाएं। शिक्षा में खेलकूद, व्यायाम, योग, कला, राष्ट्र भावना, सामाजिक जिम्मेदारी, योग्य मार्ग से अर्थोपार्जन, कला, व्यक्तित्व का विकास एवं श्रेष्ठ चारित्र के निर्माण को उतना ही महत्व दें जितना ऊंची डिग्रियों को, प्रोफेशन को, ढेर सारी प्रसिद्धि एवं पैसों को देते हैं। संसार में रहकर मात्र भोग विलास को और सुख को प्राप्त करना मनुष्य जीवन का ध्येय नहीं है। इसलिए शिक्षा में संस्कारों का निरंतर सिंचन का महत्व होना चाहिए। संस्कारों का यह सिंचन जीवन की तमाम अवस्थाओं के लिए निरंतर होना जरूरी है, क्योंकि तभी हम ऐसे समाज का निर्माण कर पाएंगे जहां सर्वे संतु सुखिनः, सर्वे संतु निरामयः। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू अनु जी, थैंक यू सो मच। आपने बहुत अच्छे पॉइंट्स के बारे में बातें की एंड थैंक यू। आपका आखिर जो पॉइंट था कि स्मार्टनेस के साथ विजडम भी चाहिए, तो बहुत सही है। अगर आज स्मार्ट लोग तो बहुत हो गए, लेकिन स्मार्टनेस का मतलब है कि बाहर देख के खुद को आगे रखना, और विजडम का अर्थ है कि सभी को न्याय देना। सो समवेयर आई थिंक वी हैव स्ट्राइक द राइट कॉर्ड। थैंक यू वेरी मच। जय गुरुदेव।
जय गुरुदेव।
थैंक यू अन्नपूर्णा जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच। अगले हमारे पैनल मेंबर को मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, डॉक्टर के नांदुरकर सर वार्म वेलकम on behalf of DSPPL. He is basically trustee of KK Wag Education Society Nashik. He is also principal of KK Wag Institute of Engineering Education and Research. 34 plus years of experience sir has also been a past chairman of Board of Studies, Production and Industrial Engineering of Pune University. He has been recipient of many national and international awards. Have written many research papers, 24 plus research papers he has written in the national and international journal. Sir, warm welcome to you, and the forum is open for your views. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pranjal ji, for this opportunity. And I would like to share some of my views related to the pointers what you have already given to us. Those are very well articulated pointers. And my experience is in the field of technical education, mainly in the higher education and technical education. So my views will be related to those experiences which I had in the last around 3 decades with the students. Now, as far as the first issue is concerned, that is the quality of education, whether it is getting worse or it is better. So, in my opinion, it is getting better. And I think it was also expressed by the other panel members over here. The first thing why it is getting better is because of the availability of technology. And that point was also expressed by almost everyone. And technology has made it really easy to learn something, especially in our engineering field. We are using now animation and simulation type of techniques. The softwares which are available, they are really very helpful to understand the concepts or to visualize the concepts, which was not possible earlier. Because earlier we were only in the classroom mode where lecturing was the only way of teaching, and the blackboard was only available. But now we have so many softwares which can give the 3D model of any object, and that helps in learning. So I think that way the quality has improved. Somebody also talked about delivery. There are some tools now for effective delivery, so that way also the quality has improved. The best thing which is happening is the access, what we call for education, that has increased, and many more people are coming into the system. Now, whether it is a positive sign or it is a problem, that also is an issue actually, because the number of students is increasing very high, and because of that there are some issues, like it was talked just now, that the student to teacher ratio, that is also disturbing. And because of that, the teachers are not able to pay the required attention to the large number of students. That is one problem which we are facing in the current system. But yes, now there are opportunities. Many more people are coming, especially from the backward area, or say economically weaker students. They are also getting help from the government, and they are also getting opportunity to come into higher education. So I think that is a positive thing. Secondly, what I find in higher education, which was not done earlier, is now we are trying to develop some accreditation system, and there are so many national accreditation bodies, like we have for our engineering, National Board of Accreditation. For higher education, we have NAC, and they are now assessing the performance of the institute. So that is also a good sign that somebody is finding out some parameters for evaluating the performance, and they are assessing the colleges. How far it is done seriously, whether it is right or wrong, that is a different issue, but definitely there has some assessment pattern is there. Somebody coming from external agency and checking the quality, that also has made some impact on the quality of education. That also we have to agree. And there are some rankings also. Now we talk about National Institute ranking framework, so NIRF. That is also giving ranking. Some people may not be happy with the ranking what they are getting, but definitely we are getting some assessment done based on the data which we are providing, and then we know where we stand. That is also one indicator. Again, there is a question that where we stand on the global level. So many times it is said that no Indian university or institution is in the top 200 or 100 institutes in the world. So does it indicate that our quality is low? That also is an issue which we will have to address. But by and large, if we see, I think we have made quite a good progress in imparting the quality, and the education which we are providing in India has some good things, definitely some good things. Why I'm saying this? Because recently when I visited USA, I visited some of the universities, and many of our students who are studying in Nasik, they go for higher education to USA, and then many of them, they have settled over there. And I was very happy to interact with some of them. In one of the university, when I met one student and I asked her what course she is doing, so she was doing some course related to analytics in that particular university. And when I asked about the profile of the students in that course, she said that all the students in this course doing masters, that is MS program, they are coming from outside America, and there is no single student from America who is doing that. The reason they told me is that the mathematics involved in this particular analytics program is quite higher level, and most of the Indian students, they are succeeding in doing that, and maybe some other Asian countries, including China and Pakistan, some students are doing very well. So that shows somewhere that our education system also has some positive points. What we are teaching from the, say, primary school to the higher education, they are learning some things, especially in the mathematical subject. They are really good. We have a very good tradition of mathematics. We'll not go into the history or something, but we have a very good tradition of mathematics, and our students are doing well in mathematics, and that is why they are succeeding at global level also. So I think these are some of the positive points of our Indian education system. We should not say that everything is going wrong. There are some positive things, but of course there are some problems also which we must discuss. Some of the points were put up now in this particular discussion also, and we can definitely find out some solutions as to how to improve that. And I'm sure DSPPL must also be doing some research and doing something for improving the system. So that is also a positive sign. Now, related to your second point, that is the change in the profile of teacher, parents, and of course, everyone has said that there is a change, and change is bound to happen. So that is very true, and it is happening. Now, some of the points which were said, I don't want to repeat them again, but especially when I come across some parents who are coming to our institute, that is when they are trying to admit their children to our institute, like engineering institute, there is a vast difference in the profile of the parents. Some of the parents, they are very well focused, as it was said earlier. They start preparing for the child's education, then they start training them, then they provide some facilities, they put them to the private classes. Now, all these things they are doing, whereas there is another part of parent, you can say, community. They are illiterate. They don't know what is happening. They don't know which course should be taken by the student. So that type of profile is also there. But yes, now the parents, they are spending quite a lot. They are trying to help their children to get into good institutes, and they wish that they should do well. So that was also pointed out, that they want their students to succeed. They want their wards to succeed, and definitely they are helping the students in getting into that. But at the same time, we have two types of parents. Some people are very much focused, some people are illiterate, and they need some training. That is the issue in this. The student profile has vastly changed, and that was said just now. The students are becoming smart. They are more focused, and they are more, you can say, demanding type of student, assertive type of student. So that is really what is happening. And we find some very good students, some brilliant students coming to engineering. But at the same time, we also find some students who are confused about their career. So that is something missing. And what I would like to add here itself, that we have to do some changes in the education system. That is also another point. In that, what is my proposal is that we must have some aptitude testing type of system. And in Maharashtra, if you know, it was done by the government at 10th standard students. They were appearing for some aptitude test, but the results were not taken seriously. Now these results are to be taken seriously, that what is really your aptitude and what you should do so that you will succeed in the life. Many times we find that students getting good marks in 12th science, they are forced to enter into engineering, and they don't like it, and they want to do something else, maybe some arts or some literature or something course like that. But parents feel that if they go into engineering college, then they will get a better job and better life in their career. So they force them. So that something is missing in our education system, that everyone wants to become a doctor or engineer. That should not happen. And now in today's world, if you see, everyone wants to become a computer engineer. So if you try to find the reason for that, they say that the salary which is offered by the software company, or the job opportunities which are available, or the comfort in which they are doing the job, these are some of the reasons which are cited that they have to do. But here again, the issue is that if everyone tries to become computer engineer, who will do the other jobs? So that is also a requirement, and the other branches are also very equally important, that we have to tell the students. And there is a sort of confusion that why we are doing this program, what is the objective of doing this program, that is not clear to many of the students. So that part is missing in these students which we are finding now. And of course, teachers, we say that teachers are the backbone of the education, but they are also facing a lot of challenges. Now, so many things were put up by different speakers over here. Teachers, their role is changing. Earlier, they used to go in the class and then deliver a lecture, and that was over. But now it is not like that. So now we have to, now the teachers are facing a major challenge, that students are not attending the classes. That is everywhere in the colleges that is happening. Probably in the school, attendance is not a much problem because students, they regularly attend and parents also keep a watch. But once they go to the college, then this problem becomes very serious, that they don't want to attend the classes. Now the question is why they are not attending the classes. And the answer is very simple, that they have so many sources of information. So they can get information. Now they call it as Google Guru, which is providing a lot of answers to any question you ask and you get an answer. So is it right to get from that? Then what will be the role of the teacher? Will the teacher be replaced by the technology? That type of questions are asked. But in my opinion, the teacher's role will be there, because he has to be a facilitator and he has to be a guide, because this one-to-one interaction will only be possible if there is a teacher-student ratio. We talked about Gurukul, and what is the essence of Gurukul? That is, there has to be an interaction between the Guru and the Shishya. If that happens, then only it is going to happen. So whatever technology may come, they will pour you with a lot of information, but this guidance from a person in one-to-one, that will be required. And that will be the role of the teacher now in the coming period. So it becomes very challenging. Somebody talked about the teachers who are on the verge of retirement. That is really true, that they find it very difficult to adopt with the new technology. But the students are very smart in using the technology. So somehow we will have to change our attitude and then use the technology in an effective way to make the teaching more interesting. And if we are able to give something more to the student, then definitely they will attend the classes. So there is some research is required, and fortunately some research is happening in the pedagogy, and a lot of things are tried out, that what pedagogy should be used by the teacher so that the teaching will be more effective, students will find it more interesting. So that type of work is also done, and of course some changes are positively happening in the education sector. Now the question was very important, that whether the objectives of the education system are fulfilled. Now some things were talked about education, why we impart education. So I came across one speech by one speaker, and he said that basically the education should fulfill some requirement of the student. That is, he must be able to earn his livelihood. That is the first thing. And secondly, he must be able to give out something for the society. So whatever knowledge he has learned, that must be useful somewhere in the society. If that is the objective, whether we are really fulfilling it, I am having a doubt about that. So many changes are happening, so many things, positive things are happening. But when we talk about the outcome, now everywhere we talk about outcome-based education. What is the outcome? Whether the student who has graduated, say from engineering or any other course, whether he is able to do the things which he is supposed to do. So that is something missing, and there is a gap in that, especially in engineering. We find that this gap is much more. Now when we try to analyze why this gap is happening, because engineering is a professional course and he has to go into the profession and to work with his hands, and he has to apply his knowledge. Now the problem is that whatever he has learned, he is not able to apply to the extent what is expected out of him. That is the major thing which we analyzed and we found out. So when we talk about what changes are required in the education system, we at our college, that is KK College of Engineering, we are trying something called as experiential learning. That is, they should do something on their own. So they should use the machine, they should use the tool, they should design something, they should manufacture something. Even if they fail, that is okay. That itself is a good learning for them, and through that they can express themselves in a better way. They can get more knowledge in that particular field, and then they can go for the interview or they can go into the field. So these are some things which we are doing. And of course, a holistic approach was talked earlier also. And now I think the new education policy, it is also promoting the holistic approach. They are also talking about multidisciplinary courses, and that is what is required in the coming period. If we try to do that, there was a question of emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, and I agree with the other speakers that the emotional part of the student is lacking today. They are very smart, they are using the gadgets, they are doing the things very fast, and they want all the results very fast. That is okay, but the thing is that they are lacking on the emotional part. If something goes wrong, they get confused, and then we find so many cases of depression coming up. Now why this depression? When I was a student, there was no question of depression. People used to face all the situations, because almost all were coming from the middle class families, and they were very much habituated to have the less resources and to adjust with others. But now it is not happening. The students are getting what they want, immediately they are getting it, and if something is not given or denied, then they get they become very anxious, they get into depression or something like that. So what it was discussed now is they need some sort of mentoring. And that also system now we are trying to develop. And again, coming to the point that what changes are to be done in the education system, I think there is a need for mentoring or counseling for the students. And if a proper counselor is there, and if they spend some time, because again, it was said just now that parents are not able to spend time with the children, then somebody has to do that. So there has to be some mentor in the education system, some counselor who will guide not only related to academic matters or other matters, but their mental matters or emotional matters. Somebody has to provide solace to them, somebody has to guide them, somebody has to motivate them, somebody has to inspire them. And if that type of teacher or a mentor is available, I think students will do wonders. Because basically, I am very optimistic about our students. Students are very positive. They do. If we give them proper direction, they will definitely do. For last 30 years, I have been seeing now this is the second generation of students which we are observing. And the second generation is very smart as compared to the earlier generation, but the things are very positive, and if we guide them in a proper way, definitely they will succeed in life. And whatever we say that we want to become a Vishwaguru, we can do that also, but provided that there has to be proper mentoring to the students. There was a question related to students are smart or wise. I have already said, and others have also said, that they are already smart, so there is no question of talking about smart. They have to be wise, and in that case, again, the issue of spiritual or emotional quotient comes, and that needs to be addressed. And some part has to be done in the curriculum or maybe in the teaching system, so that this emotional part will be done. The basic problem which I feel for professional courses like engineering is students are intelligent, but they are not able to apply that intelligence or whatever they have studied in practice. And if that is done through our system or education, or if we provide them opportunity to apply their knowledge, then probably they will take up more larger problems. And then they can take up the, you can say, social problems and then try to solve them. And if they can apply the knowledge in proper way, we have seen so many projects taken up by students, and they are trying to solve problems of the society. And technology is really a very, you can say, very important boon for us to solve the problems, because it can take a lot of issues at a time, and at a very affordable cost, it can provide solutions. So that is something which is required for the students, and not only this thing making them good marks or making this thing that is not required. Now, the changes when we talk of in the education system, I pointed out some of the problems which we are facing. The basic problem somebody talked about is the rote learning. Even though we are good in mathematics, why we are more emphasizing on rote learning? That is a problem with our system. And at our college, when we got autonomy, now we are trying to change the system of assessment. Somebody talked about assessment also. That is also a very critical part of education system, that whatever we are teaching, are they learning? That is an issue. Whether what we wanted to teach them, are they learning the same thing? That is also an issue, because there is a gap between what we are trying to teach and what they are trying to learn. So that gap is also there. How to understand this gap? That will be only possible through proper assessment system. So now what we are trying to do is introduce a continuous assessment system. That is, periodically you should keep on assessing them, checking whether they have learned, and then try to improve them. So there are two ways of assessment. There are so many teachers over here, they know the formative assessment and summative assessment. We have to check immediately that whether whatever was taught has been absorbed by the student or not, or what corrective action we have to take. So that type of things we should introduce in our education system, and do not depend on the last exam, that is 3 hours exam of 100 marks, and whatever you remember, you can reproduce and then get the marks. Those who are scoring high marks, they are declared to be successful. So I think we should not restrict ourselves to this particular definition, that those who are scoring good marks are only the good students. It is not like that. We have to do the continuous assessment. We have to find out what are their good attributes and try to develop those attributes. If they try to develop in that particular area, definitely they will succeed. So everyone in in the class. When I teach now, the number is very high in the class. We have sometimes 60, 70, 80 students. Everyone has different abilities. Everyone has a different learning style. Now, are we trying to address those learning styles? We are not. So can we make use of different technologies, different pedagogies, different type of teaching tools, so that everyone or the needs of everyone will be addressed? If that type of, I think, changes we make, then the system will be better. Only last point before concluding, I would like to add, many times we talk about social media, somebody talked of and use of mobile. Now, mobile we cannot avoid. It is now a part of your life, so you cannot avoid that. Now, what we are trying to do in our colleges, we are trying to use this mobile in a more appropriate way for teaching learning, and one of the way which we are doing is for doing the formative assessment in the class itself. So one question is posed and they have to answer it immediately, and then we come to know how many people are answering it in a proper way. So if that type of use of technology and the things which they like, that is the students like, if we try to make a positive use of those things, I think they will be doing it better. And instead of restricting them on ye nahi karna hai, wo nahi karna hai, we try to tell them something positive, that yes, this can be done, this can be used, and if you do it, you will be successful in your career. I think these type of changes are required. But again, I would like to say that I am really optimistic. The generation is really smart, but we have to make them wise, as it was said, and probably the spiritual component is to be brought in the education system. If we do that, I think nobody can stop us. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nandurkarji. I think I'll just pick up the 2 points from what you said, which are very valid. Number one is about the emotional quotient. I think you talked about a couple of times during your presentation. See, they are extremely weak in emotions, as everybody has been talking about. Unfortunately, the whole civilization, the center point is the emotions, the families, the society, the community, the nations. And now the center point has already shifted towards the intellect. Unfortunately, we don't have a model which can talk us about the civilization based on intellect as a center point. And this is a huge challenge. And I believe most of the educationists and education institutions should not be only happy saying that we are giving good education, but I think they also should answer or help the humanity to work around this new model of communication, a new model of what you can say, civilization. Otherwise, the humanity is bound to collapse. That was one thing. The second thing, what I think you talked about was about information, the Google guru. And that reminded me of very closely about our IQ model. We have developed IQ model in DSPPL.
Okay.
IQ doesn't stand for I.Q. It is I.K.E.W. That's of the IQ. So unless the information is converted into knowledge and knowledge is converted into experience, you cannot reach the wisdom.
Right.
And the whole process of converting information to wisdom, the teacher plays a very large and vital role.
Yes.
Which you also put in your.
Yes.
Teachers cannot be redundant. Without teacher, the learning never happens.
Right.
Somewhere the 2 points are the pickup of this evening. And thank you very much, Dr. Nandurkar, for saying this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Enlightening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our studies. Thank you so much. Pranjal, take over.
Yeah, Nandurkar sir, thank you very much for your views. Thank you to all the panel members. Now I will request Vivek Pandeyji from our DSPPL fraternity. He has also been a teacher, to express his views and about summing up relating to this particular forum. Yeah, Vivek, over to you.
Yes, Pranjal, thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Jai Gurudev, everyone. Good evening. And thank you to all the speakers who have spoken before me. मुझसे पहले जितने वक्ताओं ने बोला है, उन्होंने शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में बहुत सारा काम किया है. And I'm glad they said whatever they said. Okay. So yeah, I'll start with, because the topic is education yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's a vast thing, and one cannot, fail in repeating Swami Vivekananda. The whole life is nothing but education. और स्वामी विवेकानंदा ने ही बोस्टन की अपनी स्पीच में बोला था कि अमेरिका में ज्ञान का बहुत महत्व है, लेकिन तुम्हारी कोई वैल्यू मेरे सामने नहीं है, क्योंकि मेरे कंट्री में कैरेक्टर को ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस दिया जाता है, ज्ञान को कोई इतना इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं दिया जाता. एक और चीज मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि हिंदी में कॉन्वोकेशन फंक्शन को दीक्षांत समारोह कहते हैं. इट इज नॉट कॉल्ड शिक्षांत समारोह. बिकॉज अपने कल्चर में कभी भी शिक्षा का अंत नहीं होता, दीक्षा का अंत होता है। और दीक्षा इसलिए दी जाती है बिकॉज दीक्षा इज रिलेटेड विथ योर एनर्जीज, शिक्षा इज रिलेटेड विथ व्हाट डू यू से योर माइंड, ओनली विथ योर माइंड। सो जो दीक्षांत समारोह है वो कॉन्वोकेशन फंक्शन का नाम था ना। पास्ट में ये भी देखा जाता है अपने कल्चर में जो एजुकेशन था उसको ब्रिटिशर्स के जो 200 इयर्स का रूल रहा है उसमें सप्रेस किया गया है, विच मोस्ट पीपल मस्ट माइट बी अवेयर ऑन दिस फोरम। लिखने में हम लोग इतना नहीं थे, ऐसा कहा जाता है, ऐसा फैलाया गया है। हम लोग सिर्फ वर्बली पास ऑन करते थे सारा वैदिक नॉलेज, बट एक्चुअली दैट इज नॉट ट्रू। वर्बली हम लोग पास ऑन करते थे, सिर्फ वर्बली नहीं, माइंड टू माइंड लेवल पर नॉलेज पास ऑन होता था। इसीलिए सारे ब्राह्मण्स की जो सरनेम है, चतुर्वेदी, द्विवेदी, त्रिवेदी, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द स्टूडेंट कौन कितना मेमोराइज कर सकता है, अपने गुरु से कितना रिसीव कर सकता है, वैसे उनको नॉलेज दिया जाता था। और जिस पर्टिकुलर स्टूडेंट को सारा उपनिषद का, वेदों का, पुराणों का नॉलेज आता था मिक्स, उसको मिश्रित शब्द में से मिश्रा सरनेम ब्राह्मण्स की आती थी। सो जो पुराना सिस्टम था हम एक्चुअली उसकी तरफ जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि अभी टेक्नोलॉजी के हिसाब से हम देख सकते हैं कि ब्लूटूथ से नॉलेज ट्रांसफर होती है। मैं अपने स्टूडेंट्स को पीडीएफ वगैरह भेज देता हूँ मजे से, लेकिन द नेक्स्ट स्टेप शुड बी अ माइंड टू माइंड ट्रांसफर ऑफ नॉलेज फ्रॉम द टीचर टू स्टूडेंट। सो ये यस्टरडे की बात अभी चल रही है, उसमें एक और चीज मैं मेंशन करना चाहूंगा। स्कूल्स में जो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस रहा है रिगार्डिंग सोल, सो माय एक्सपीरियंस इज स्कूल में स्टूडेंट्स को हमेशा बॉय और गर्ल करके रिफर किया जाता है। दे आर नेवर रियली टॉट द बेसिक्स ऑफ देयर स्पिरिचुअल एग्जिस्टेंस। उनको शुरू से एक इनसिक्योर माहौल में सिर्फ इन टर्म्स ऑफ बॉडी रेफर किया जाता है, एंड दैट इज कंटिन्यूड टिल क्लास 12. I don't think the students need to be necessarily referred to as boy or girl all the time. Obviously, we can have systems जहाँ पे washroom separate है और सारी चीजें separate है, but we need to teach them the unity of existence. क्योंकि ये जितनी भी values है जो इंसान का character बनाती है, वो values हम directly नहीं सिखा सकते, वो values आती है unity of existence में से। जब इंसान को समझ में आता है कि we are all one fundamentally, it's only in terms of bodies that we appear separately. So it is very important कि schools थोड़ा सा spiritual basics है वो लेकर आए teaching में, और बहुत ज्यादा bodily terms में बात नहीं करे, क्योंकि bodily terms में बात करने के हिसाब से सिर्फ कुछ और issues नहीं आते, issues ये भी आता है कि इंसान body level पे stuck हो जाता है। Then there are 3 words, धर्म, धारण and धारणा। So education में एक चीज बहुत important है कि धर्म is actually, when I speak dharma, I'm not talking about any religion, I'm talking about the righteousness which is already there within an individual. एक व्यक्ति प्राकृतिक तौर पर या अपने दैविक रूप में जानता है सही क्या है, गलत क्या है, लेकिन उसने बहुत कुछ समाज से धारण किया है। सो ये धर्म, धारणा और व्हाट डू यू से धारण करना, ये तीनों शब्द का रूट एक ही है। और क्या उन्होंने धारण किया है, क्या उन्होंने अपनी पर्सनालिटी में डाला है बचपन से, वो टीचर को देखना आना चाहिए। क्या क्या उसे निकालना है ताकि वो प्राकृतिक तौर पर जो उसका धर्म है उसका वो पालन कर सके। उसके साथ ही कुछ वैल्यू सिस्टम या एक ऐसा सिस्टम आ सकता है जिसमें वो अच्छे से व्हाट डू यू से पढ़ सके। सो दिस वाज रिगार्डिंग यस्टरडे। आई डू नॉट विश टू टेक मच टाइम। Now today, as far as the classrooms are concerned, I teach in a school where there are about 80 students in one class. So the atmosphere is like very, very stressful for a teacher, and one has to give it to them that they still maintain and teach the subjects, but unfortunately they teach only the subjects. Most of the points have been already spoken by the previous speakers, but teachers currently are just focusing on teaching only the subjects, and they are not relating the subjects with life. Eventually, all the subjects are meant to improve the life of the child, and they are just doing it in terms of numbers. They are not addressing the qualitative aspect of education. They are not connecting the subjects with life, which is fundamental. So, एक ये fault है classrooms में कि teachers are just bothered about their subject teaching. Apart from this, there is this forceful atmosphere in a classroom I fail to understand why a teacher has to be super angry in the name of being strict. And why does he have to shout or bang the duster in order to make the classroom quiet? He can just shift to his very true and pious nature. And I can promise within a few minutes, the children understand and they go quiet. They may take time. उनको 2-3 मिनट लग सकता है क्योंकि सबका माइंड अलग अलग लेवल पर एंगेज्ड होता है, लेकिन टीचर खुद को शांत करेगा और उसका अगर इतना प्रभाव है अपने क्लास पे तो सबका ध्यान अपने आप वो खींच सकता है. So it is very important for a teacher to gather the attention of the whole class as a collective consciousness rather than he forcing his mind on the students कि मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ वो सीखो, right? एक्चुअली टीचर को बहुत सब्जेक्टिव होना चाहिए, उसको ये बताना चाहिए कि चलो आज मजा आएगा पढ़ने में, दिस चैप्टर इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, सो लेट अस ऑल फोकस ऑन द सब्जेक्ट रादर देन बीइंग फोर्सफुल. सो क्लासरूम्स में जो पावर स्ट्रगल्स अभी ऑफ लेट शुरू हुए, स्पेशली कोविड के बाद, दैट इज अ रियली साइन ऑफ वरी कि बहुत लोग स्ट्रगल करते हैं, टीचर्स और स्टूडेंट्स के बीच में क्लैशेस होने लगे. सो दैट इज वन मोर थिंग. देन पेरेंट्स, दे नीड टू बी, व्हेन दे इनकलकेट देयर चाइल्ड, okay, just give me a few 2 minutes. Okay. पेरेंट्स जब स्टूडेंट्स को एडमिशन देते हैं स्कूल में तो वो एक इनसिक्योरिटी के फैक्टर के साथ डालते हैं कि इसके फ्यूचर को हमको कैसे डिजाइन करना है या इसका फ्यूचर कैसे बनेगा. द पॉइंट शुड बी चाइल्ड को फेथ के साथ स्कूल में एडमिशन दिलाना चाहिए कि हम स्कूल में जा रहे हैं और हम अच्छा अच्छा सीखेंगे. और इनिशियली रहता भी है पेरेंट्स का ये इंटेंशन कि वो स्टूडेंट को स्कूल में अच्छी अच्छी बातें सिखाते हैं, बट जैसे जैसे चाइल्ड ग्रो करता है पेरेंट्स का भी ऑब्जेक्टिव है वो फाइनेंशियल सिक्योरिटी की तरफ चला जाता है और स्टूडेंट्स को कोई और विजन उनकी लाइफ का दिया ही नहीं जाता. सो स्टूडेंट्स को जब स्कूल में डाला जाता है तो वो एक मॉनेटरी इनसिक्योरिटी के हिसाब से या करियर मेकिंग इंस्टीट्यूशन के हिसाब से नहीं, एन एलिमेंट ऑफ फेथ शुड बी इनकलकेटेड. एंड देन बिकॉज वी आर रनिंग आउट ऑफ टाइम, आई वुड से कि स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनको होलिस्टिकली डेवलप करने के लिए एक वो जो कॉन्शियसनेस है और जो यूनिटी ऑफ एग्जिस्टेंस है उसका प्रिंसिपल बचपन से सिखाना चाहिए और टीचर्स को फंडामेंटली उतना इक्विप्ड होना पड़ेगा कि दे कैन डील विथ नॉट जस्ट द सब्जेक्ट बट द होल एनर्जीज ऑफ ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स. So yeah, I wrap it up here. A whole lot of things can be done as far as the future is concerned, but I'm sure we'll have many more sessions for such beautiful discussions. Thank you so much once again for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Jai Gurudev. And once again, thank you to all our panel members, Rini Saran, Dr. Andurkar, Dr. Anu Shah, Dr. Seema Baduri, Dr. Neeta Parekh, Asha Muthanna. All your views were very important, very crucial, and very helpful for DSPPL also. I think the time that we have taken, that is 1 hour and 30 minutes, was too short, because what we have planned is to have an interactive session to allow the participants also to ask the questions to you. But I feel that right now already we have surpassed the time, and it will be difficult to give justice to the participants' question. So we may arrange one more meet along with you based on your views. So I now hand it over to Guruji, sir.
No, Pranjal, thank you. I think we already overrun the time, and probably I think it's a time to say good night to all of you. And thank you very much for all those participated in terms of, I think, the speakers as well as those listeners. So thank you, thanks a lot. Yeah, we'll come back, and I think we should have another meeting. Thank you.
Yes. Because there are so many questions that has been received by me personally. So we will definitely arrange one more session with only question and answers. Thank you very much to all the senior faculty members and all these experienced people. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev. Jai.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.